Namaste, welcome to the class. As you know, Kuchipudi dance is essentially drawn from a dance drama tradition that finds its origin in the states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Its rich variety and flamboyance uses the Telugu and Sanskrit language in a mellifluous manner. There is no specific moment from which can be traced the rise of Kuchipudi. The dance gets its name from the village of Kuchipudi, but contains performance elements of many sacred forms that flourished in the temple and sacred spaces as well as courts and other secular places. Some of these elements had an elitist bias, and some were from that the common people appreciative. During the early part of Middle Ages, when Veera Shaiva cult and Shaivite rulers held its sway over the Telugu Bhumi, the seeds of an early form of virile and dynamic Kuchipudi dance dramas based on Shiva Leelas. Yakshaganas were sown. Later on, when the Vaishnava cult gained the upper hand, with the rulers turning to be Vaishnavism, the operas known as Bhagavata Mela, based on the Vishnu lore, came into vogue. As a classical form of dance, drama and music, Kuchipudi enjoys a unique place among the Indian classical dance idioms. Kuchipudi derives its name from the village of Kuchelapuram in the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, now falling in Telangana, where it grew largely as a product of Bhakti movement, beginning in the 7th century AD. The tradition of classical dances in Andhra Pradesh goes back to more than a millennium and half as the wealth of sculptures in the ancient temples, the Buddhist ruins at Ajanta and Ellora caves, Amravati and Ramappa temple would indicate. It is recorded in history that during the reign of the Vijayanagar emperor, Veera Narasimha Raya, a troupe of Bhagavatulus from Kuchipudi village performed in the royal court. The royal chronicle Machupali Kaifat recorded in 1502 that the king commented after the performance that the Kuchipudi Bhagavats were well known for their art. This suggests that the art of Kuchipudi had already earned a good reputation. Patronized by the Vijayanagar rulers, the Bhagavata Mela tradition flourished. The Brahmins, deeply versed in Shastras, now became the custodian of the art. They started to move around nearby villages, entertaining people. The themes were drawn from the Shiva Purana, the Mahabharata, and the Bhagavad Purana, devoting themselves entirely to worship of God through dance. They came to be known as Bhagavatulus. Narahari Tirtha, once known as Shyama Shastri, was a disciple of 13th century Indian saint Mahadevacharya and is considered to be one of the founding lights of the Haridas movement in India. This devotional movement that took shape in the 13th and 14th centuries is considered as one of the turning points in the cultural history of India. It preceded the Vijayanagar period and even ran congruent to it. Over a span of nearly 6 centuries, several saints and mystics helped shape the culture, philosophy, and art of southern India by exerting considerable spiritual influence over the masses and the kingdoms that ruled South India through a literary medium known as Dasa Sahitya. Although initially celebrated in the Karnataka region, its influence was felt almost immediately in other parts of South India as well. Narahari Tirtha was not only a noted saint but also a pontiff of the ruling Vijayanagara royal, as evidenced by some inscriptions. Narahari Tirtha is also attributed to be the founder of the Yakshagana and Bayalata dance and the cultural art forms which still flourish in the parts of Karnataka and Kasargod in Kerala, even as it gains widespread attention outside this region. He is also believed to be the founder of Kuchipudi dance form when he was the Mathadhipati, high priest of his monastery in Srikakulam, Andhra Pradesh. The dance drama performed in the Kuchipudi tradition, Shri Krishna Jalakrida, was composed by Gopala Krishna Saraswati, a disciple of Narahari Tirtha at Srikakulam. The secret performance not only spread the message of God, but they were also involved in social welfare. Once, while performing at a place called Siddhavatam, the artist observed that the local chieftain used torture on the people to extort large sums of money. Later, while performing for the Vijayanagar ruler, the artist inserted a short dance sequence and through it narrated the entire situation at Siddhavatam. This compelled the ruler to take immediate action against the errant feudatory. Also, such was the involvement of artists in the political and social life of the day. Although once home to a robust dance tradition, as the centuries rolled by, enthusiasm for dance waned and the art showed signs of disintegration. It was due to the efforts of great mystic teacher Siddhendra Yogi to revive it. Siddhendra Yogi was born in 1350 and passed away in 1450. The form came to him, it is alleged, in the form of a dream. He then formulated a syllabus and discipline for Kuchipudi dance and to pursue male members of the Brahmin community to take pledge to learn, practice and dance this form. He made them promise that a male member from every family will at least once in his lifetime perform the role of Satyabhama. He forbade the entry of women into his group and laid the foundation of the Kuchipudi village. A strict code of discipline was prescribed for the boys. They had to learn the Vedas, the Shastras, the Natya Shastra and music and had to perform the Sandhya Vandana thrice a day. He thus initiated a systematic training pattern for the dancers. So strong is that tradition started by Siddhendra Yogi that every child born in this village even today has a bell tied around his waist as a mark of initiation. Like any other dance form, Kuchipudi draws its sustenance from the principles enunciated in Bharata's Natya Shastra. Kuchipudi, being a dance drama, incorporates elements of Nritya and Natya. The Nritya consists of Tirmanams and Jatis, the Nritya of Shabdams, and the Natya of acting with mudras for the songs. However, it is both a secret activity as well as performance form. For instance, at Kuchipudi, the Brahmins still command respect from the other castes that recognize that their dancing is more a form of worship than a mere medium of expression. Kuchipudi dancers not only dance but sing and even speak. For the fact that Vachika Abhinaya is as important as the Angika Abhinayam. All the Kuchipudi dance dramas and Shabdams have an undercurrent of profound mysticism because their original purpose was to propagate the bhakti cult among the illiterate masses. In practice, a Kuchipudi dance drama begins with the recitation of Vedic shlokas, Punyavachana and Ganapati Vandana. Tandav Nritya Kari Gajanan, which is danced by a dancer wearing an elephant head mask. Thereafter, the prayer in honor of the goddess Amba Pakaru, Devi Pakaru, and Guru Prarthana before the Sutradhar, who conducts the play and makes a continuous commentary, presents the Nandi Stotra. The songs in the play that follow are known in Sanskrit as Dhruva Gana and in Kuchipudi tradition as the Darus. There are 5 types of Darus. The most popular are the entrance song or Praveshika Dharu that introduces a character, Nishkram Dharu that marks the exit of the character. The other Dharus include Prasadiki Dharu or a composition that reinforces an already existing mood, Akshepiki Dharu which is used to change a mood, and Antara Dharu which is sung to cover up a gap that or a mishap in the flow of the dance drama. Many of these elements have been retained in the solo concert version of the form as well. The oldest Kuchipudi dance belongs to dance drama, belongs to the Shiva cult. They include Shiva Leela Natyam. Among the Vaishnava phase, possibly the oldest is Rama Natakam from the Ramayana. Some of the other popular ones include Rukmini Kalyanam, Prahlada Charitam, Bana Sura, and Bhama Kalapam. Bhama Kalapam, I see a smile on everyone's face. Huh? Bhama Kalapan, attributed to Siddhendra Yogi himself, is the most popular dance drama. This celebrates the assertiveness of the Jivatma as it seeks union with the Paramatma. The popular selection determining stage presentation often marks the conversation between Satyabhama and her friend Madhavi. It contains songs including a Pravesha Dharu that goes Bhamane Satyabhamane, in which Satyabhama goes on to introduce herself as the beautiful daughter of the king Satyajit. Bhama Kalapan contains as many as 80 Dharus, with each ending in a flourish of Tirmanams. The sequence of the Jada Bharatam is particularly significant and eagerly awaited. There is a deep symbolism in that action as it serves as a challenge to any other practitioner present who thinks that he can enact Satyabhama better. If vanquished, the Jada was cut in an act of utter humiliation and carried off as a trophy. It is believed that once Bhama Kalapam was performed before the Nawab of Golconda, and he was so impressed by it that he gave a land grant to the village for the preservation of this art. This is recorded in a copper plate, and this donation freed the community from the pressure of having to balance their artistry with the mundane requirements of earning a livelihood. Another extremely popular Kalapam, enjoying a status next to Bhama Kalapam, is the Golla Kalapam, written in the 18th century by the Bhagavat Thulu Ramaya Shastri. Considerable felicity with the Sanskrit language is required, especially since there is no specific narrative but a dialogue on general cultural issues like the importance of yagna, ideal family life, the duties towards ancestors, development of embryos, and such. It became popular as it contains a dialogue through song and the spoken word between a milkmaid and a Brahmin, in which the milkmaid holds her own against the pompous Brahmin. The story of Usha and Aniruddha finds mention in the Srimad Bhagavata and other Puranas. This is one of the most popular narratives in the Kuchipudi repertoires. In its Telugu version, Usha Parinayam is as it is described to Ratnachintala Chidambara Kavi. Another version, similarly in the most ways, is ascribed to Subbaraya Shastri. The downfall of the Vijayanagara kingdom in 1565 has resulted in an artistic setback for the artists of Kuchipudi, and many of them have shifted to Tanjore, to the village now known as Melatur, where Bhagavata Mela Natakam was born. Art scholar Krishna Chaitanya, in his book Arts in India, claims that Bhagavata Mela Natakam is also an offshoot of Kuchipudi. In the 17th century, Tallavajhala Govind Shastri took on an ascetic vow and the name Tirtha Narayan Yogi Yati came. While there is a significant dissension as to his exact time, historians placed him between 1610 and 1745 AD. An extensive research done with the help of archives preserved in the Saraswati Mahal library has helped place the time even closer to 1650 AD to 1745 AD. This Telugu Brahmin's family had settled in the Tanjore district of Tamil Nadu. He wrote a long narrative poem in Sanskrit, Krishna Leela Tarangini. It covers the entire story of Krishna from his avatara, that is the incarnation, to his marriage to Rukmini. Tarangams are associated with him just as Kshatriya's compositions are Padams, Jayadev's are Ashtapadis, and Saint Tyagaraja are Kriti, Annamacharis are Kirtanams. Same way it is the Tarangams of Siddhendra Yati. Tarangams come from the root word of Taranga, which literally means a wave. The whole composition is envisioned as waves flowing from Sri Krishna's glory in the different periods of his life. Dancer Ragini Devi, one of the first Western dancers to witness these art form, wrote in her book Dance Dialects of India that the Krishna cult gave more importance to song and dance rather than rituals, explaining why there was such creativity around the Krishna cult. In this magnum opus, Tirtha Narayan Yati used various literary and musical forms such as songs, prose passages, shlokas, dvipadis, that is couplets. The Krishna Leela Tarangini consists of 12 tarangams and encapsulates 153 songs, 302 shlokams and 31 churnikas, all set to classical Carnatic music. Tirtha followed in general Ved Vyasa's Bhagavatam and concentrated specially and specifically on the 10th skandam. From the fact that he has introduced sequences of the rhythmic dance syllabus at the end of cantos, much like the Ashtachap Kavis has done in their poetry, it is evident that he intended it to be used for dance, of course. He is first presented this dance drama by some boys at the local temple. It was from the Krishna Leela Tarangini that the defining feature of Kuchipudi dance, the tarangams, are based. There are as many as 30 variations of Krishna's dance that these tarangams capture. The tarangams are part of the Yakshagana aspect of Kuchipudi, where the virtues of life of the gods are extolled. Thus, apart from the Bhagavat Mela Natakam and Yakshaganas, there is that part of Kuchipudi that was inspired by the Mazvani or the solo art of the Sanis and Rajanartakis. This is contained in the solo items that were employed in the ensemble performance for entertainment and attractiveness. Till the 20th century, they were still exclusively performed by men. The solo dance repertoire includes shabdams, composed in the musical style called Pathya, which included shlokas, darus, shabdas, songs, and the use of rhythmic syllables. Among them are many types. The Dashavatara Shabdam describes the 10 avatars of Vishnu. This often served as the invocatory piece of the dance drama that followed. It is a composition of Siddha Batulu Rangadasu of Pedapuli Varu. The Manduka Shabdam is believed to have been composed for a celebrated court dancer Lakuma Devi in the 13th century of Jayappa Nayak, commander of the Kakatiya armies and author of the treatise Dhritta Ratnavali. Legend has it that once when it was presented in the court of Krishna Deva Raya, who ruled in 1509 to 1530, a daru praising the king's word added to the performance, which has been retained by many dancers even today. There also exists another version of the Manduka Shabdam that was composed by Melatur Bharata Kashinath Kavi in the 8th century, and it includes Gajendra Moksham, the story of how Vishnu saved the elephant Gajendra. The legend of churning of the ocean, Amrita Manthan, in the search for nectar, the elixir of immortality, is the same theme of the Jakula Purandari Shabdam. It was first presented by the court dancer Jakula Kanta. The Telugu word for Yaksha is Jakulu and also refers to a caste dedicated to dance and drama. This dance begins with the salutation to the king of the Gajapati dynasty and the royal assembly before announcing the theme of the dance. The Jakula Daru Nritya portrays the dancer as Mohini with the Kasturi Tilakam, white dots arranged in the pattern of the crocodile and braided hair adorned with ketaki flowers. Chamundeshwari Shabda describes the power of the goddess and her attacking the buffalo demon Mahishasur. The power and vitality of the Devi is conveyed by chants, the cries of Jai Jai Bhadrakali, and the sharp and long rhythmic interludes, referencing the Devi's anger. Another extremely popular number from Kuchipudi repertoire that deserves mention is Krishna Shabdam, in which a milkmaid invites Krishna for a rendezvous in myriads of ways, giving full scope for the dancer to display the charms of a woman. In Kuchipudi, we find a special variety of Shabdams that are called Abhishekam. These tell the story of the god from birth to glorification. They contain all significant moments of his legend depicted in a nutshell. Rama Pattabhishekam is a perfect example of this. It contains sequences of Sita Kalyanam, Ahalyastakavam, Taraka Sura Samharam. Prahlada Pattabhishekam is another example of an Abhishekam that tells the story of Prahlada. The Ardhanarishwara Shabdam belongs to a class of Pagati Veshamulu compositions. Pagati Veshamulu is a Telugu phrase that literally means daylight portrayals. This is the name given to the art of Bahurupalus, who play many roles. This is an ancient solo folk form of role playing in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana of stereotyped professions or faiths. The character of Ardhanarishwara has half of the body attired as man and the other half as a woman. A veil is deftly used to hide one half at a time and thereby depict the qualities of the Shiva independently and the qualities of Parvati independently. Very popular ones, but now seldom seen, this Shabdam belongs then to this subgenre. Among those Bhagavatulus who left for Tanjore as the patronage of the Vijayanagar kingdom, warned as Kshetragna, the celebrated composer of Muva Gopala Padam's love lyrics dedicated to Lord Krishna. In these beautiful love songs addressed to Muva Gopala, Kshetragna gave a classic base for Abhinaya. Muva village is the Krishna district near Kuchipudi. Kshetragna was patronized by Vijay Raghava, the ruler at Tanjore in the 17th century. The prolific Telugu poet and composer wrote padams and kirtanams addressed to Lord Krishna. He is credited with more than 4,000 compositions, although only a handful of them have survived. Though his parents named him Varadaya, but because of his habit of traveling from one place to another singing his songs at the temple, he came to be called Kshetragna or Kshetraya, one who travels, one who travels. He perfected the padam format that is still used today. His padams are sung in dance in both Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi, apart from being sung at the musical recitals as well. A unique feature of his padams is the practice of singing the Anupallavi first, then the Pallavi, that is the second verse followed by the first verse. Most of the padams are on the theme of longing for the coming of the Lord. He wrote with Shringar as the main theme in expressing Madhura Bhakti, devotion to the Supreme. In most of his composition, Kshetraya has used the mudra or signature of Muva Gopala, the name of the Lord, as a reference to himself. Kshetraya's work was intimately connected with the Devadasi and Mazuvani artists as well. Apart from the ever popular Kshetraya, padams and javalis written by others like Dharmapuri Dasaramalu of the 16th and 17th century are also used for Abhinaya. Kuchipudi is probably the only style that still strives to use all four Abhinayas. Finally, there is one form of poetry that is accompanied by a unique dance unique to Kuchipudi. These are the Kautvams. The poetry describes specific features of the deity or sometimes creatures from nature. It is set to definite talas like the Simha Nandini tala of 128 beats that makes it the longest tala. This is also found in Sangeet Ratnakar. Although musician T.M. Krishnan wants in his book Southern Music that the tal in practice may not be the tal that it is referred to in the text. As a dancer performs these unique poetic composition to unique musical patterns, two kinetic features are observed. Firstly, there are acrobatic elements, and secondly, the dancer while performing draws on the floor with her toe and her feet, painting an outline that suggests the deity, its mount, or a creature from nature. Thus, we have Simhanandani composition in praise of goddess who rides the lion, the Vinayaka Kautvam and the Mayur Kautvam. This tradition is unique to Kuchipudi and never ceases to win the accolades. So, you must see the Kautvams. Thank you. Bye-bye.